Okay, and we have a linear one here too, equation of a line. So here's the possibilities here. When a nonlinear system consists of a linear equation and a quadratic equation, the graphs can intersect in 0, where they don't meet at all, so no real solution. 1 point where the line goes through the vertex, or in 2 points where your line crosses your parabola at 2 spots, okay? So the system can have those situations. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at lines and parabolas to start, and then we'll look at parabolas and parabolas, okay? It says when a nonlinear, here's when we have 2 parabolas. When a nonlinear system consists of 2 parabolas that open up or open down, again, how do we know if they open up? I forgot. It's a positive A value, right? When it opens down, it's a negative A value, okay? Then they can intersect again in 0, 1, or 2 spots, like that. So sometimes they won't touch. Sometimes they'll have the vertex, same vertex in common, and sometimes they'll meet in 2 spots. So the same possibilities with a line and a parabola or 2 parabolas. Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking for. All right, and our calculator, our graphing calculator, will help us find those points of intersection. Okay, we just got to practice using it. All right, so here's one. All right, so we're going to do all of our homework tonight. We're just going to use our graphing calculator. Okay, so we can put them both in. So let me move this over so you can see them. Now, what's the first button we push to graph something? Our y equals, very good. That's up here at the top. All right, so let's just put those both in. So we got our x. Remember, our x there is right under the mode button. Squared minus 2x minus 1. Hit enter. And then negative. All right, so remember, this negative 2x, the negative sign is down here at the very bottom. And then 2x. And then remember, it'll be our minus button, 1 for the other one. Okay? And it should work if you just hit graph. If it's not working, if it looks kind of weird to you, you can hit zoom 6. That gets you your standard window. There's our standard window. So there's our parabola, and there's our line. Okay? So when I go to my table, all right, which is, let me put this out here first so you guys can see it. Make it a little bigger. All right. And then we'll go to the table just to see if I can see the answers in the table. Now, when I look at the table now, I'm going to have 3 columns. I'll have a column for my x values. Then I'll have a column for y1, which is, what was the first one we put in? The parabola, right? And then I'll have a column for y2, which would be the y values of the line. Okay? So you hit second graph for your table. All right? So there's our table of values. Now, if I'm looking at this line here, where x is 0, what do you see for the y values? When x is 0 in your table, what do you see for the y values? -1, right? For both, right? That means they have that point in common. All right, that might be the only point. It's kind of hard to tell here. All right? That might be the only point of intersection. Okay? So, let me go that should be, yeah, that looks like that's it. I'm just looking here at my X values here where it looks like it meets. It looks like, like my X value of -1, -2, -3, and then 1 and 2 for my X's. It looks might go there also. So somewhere between, maybe at the vertex. So I'm going to have to use my calculate menu. So I know there's an answer here at the y-intercept is the same for both. Okay. But it also looks like it meets down here. All right. So I'm thinking there's 2 points of intersection just by looking at the graph. All right. Here's 0, -1. And then it looks like right there it hits also. Right? So I'm going to have to find that other point of intersection. Okay, so looking at the same y values there, that's one solution, but it looks to me like there's another one. Okay, so I'm going to go to second trace. That's my calculate menu. And if you look at number 5 there, what does it say? Intersect. So we're looking for intersections between the two graphs. All right. So if I hit 5, which I'm going to do now, all right, it says first curve, all right, meaning it's on which curve? Is it on the parabola or the line?
Parabola.
It's on the parabola because that was our first graph, right? Now, it's at 0, -1, which was one of my answers. So if I hit enter, and then second curve enter, and guess, it'll give me that intersection of 0, -1, which we already saw in the table. All right, we need to find that other one. Okay, so we're going to hit second trace again. Number 5 for intersection. Okay, and I'm going to move it to the right a little bit. And it's going to go along the parabola. See it moving along the parabola? Hit my right arrow key a couple times. I'm going to get close to the vertex there. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, second curve, it's on the line below there a little bit. So I'm going to hit enter again. And let's hit guess and see if it finds that other one. And it didn't. Did it? It's giving me 0, -1 again. So maybe they don't meet. Okay? It looks to me like they meet. So I'm going to try something different just to make sure what's going on there. Because, again, some of you have a newer version. You might not, it might, with these pixels, it might be better, look better than mine does. So I'm going to do what's called zoom box, just to, what's the word I want? Zoom in. I want to zoom in on a certain area. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this area. I'm going to draw a box around about this area of the graph, and it's just going to zoom in there, and we'll be able to see a little bit better what's going on there. All right, so let me show you how to do that. So I'm hitting zoom again, and the first one is Z box, so that's going to let me draw a box. Okay, now when I hit enter, the cursor is going to be really hard to see, but it's going to be at 0, 0. Well, no, it's not, because I had moved it already. But that was the first thing we did. If we didn't look for any intersections at all, it would start at 0, 0. But anyway, it's hard for you to see, but it's blinking right here, a little plus sign. All right. So I'm going to use my right arrow key and move that plus sign a little bit. You guys see it out there now a little bit? I'm going to go up a couple. I'm going to make this going to be the bottom right hand corner of my box. All right, so I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm just going to hit the left arrow key. That's going to start drawing a line. Now you guys can hold your arrow key down so it goes a little quicker. Like I said, if I hold my arrow key down on this, it kind of goes crazy. All right, so I just made this. I made this bottom line of my box, my rectangle. I'm going to go a little bit more to the left just to get to like -2. And again, as I move, it tells me where my cursor is. My cursor right now is at -2.1, -2.5. Okay, now if I hit the top or the up arrow key, it'll start making a rectangle, a box. So I'm going to go up and try to get it to a y value of 1. There's 1.2. So when I hit enter now, it's going to zoom in on that area of the graph. Okay, let's see what happens. There's my parabola, and there's my line. So you get a little better look at what's going on here. There really isn't an intersection here where that second red dot. There's really just only one intersection, which is that 0, -1, which maybe it should be up there, but so we only had one point of intersection here, so we only have one answer. Okay? Questions? There was a lot of hitting buttons there for that first one, just trying to figure out for sure. Now, if I want to get out of that, I just hit zoom 6. All right? To go back to normal. Zoom 6. It goes back to the first one we did, the normal one. Okay? So zoom 6 is the one you want to remember. Get back to your normal screen for a graph. Questions? All right, there's a B one here. I'd like you to try it on your own and see what you get. All right, and then we'll go through it here in a couple minutes. All right, so put those two, go back and put those in for your first and second one into your y equals, and then hit graph and see what it looks like. Are we ready to look at it? Anybody having issues? All right, there's mine. So how many answers we going to have? We're going to have 2, right? Everybody's look like that? Am I? Yours doesn't look like that?
Yeah, mine does.
Wait. Check your, go back to your y equals, make sure you have it right. X squared minus 4x minus 2. And y equals x minus 2. Remember, hit minus sign, not the negative sign when you do that. All right, so at this point, how do I find this point and this point? Did you guys go to the table? Could you find it through the table? Did I? So mine's wrong? Okay, maybe mine is wrong. Oh, how about mine get a 24?
Wow.
Yep. Sorry, my bad. I don't know how that happened. Sorry about that. So you guys say the table works this time? I put the wrong, I don't know how I got a 24 in there. So I need to go down, right? 0, -2 works, right? Any others? In 4, no? 5, huh? So looking at our table, we can see what those 2 are, right? You guys see those? This one and this one. Okay? So that made it easier on us because we could see it in the table. All right? Do you remember how to find, let's say we're looking for 5, 3, just using the calculator, the intersect. What do I got to hit to get to this intersection point? If I want to find this point, okay, and I'm not using, I just want to go through the steps again. What do I hit to get to the intersection? Second trace. Thank you.
5.
Number 5. Okay. So, let's move it right and go over towards the other one that we're looking for. All right, so I get close to that, I hit enter. I'm still close to that, I hit enter, and then guess it should give me that 5, 3. There you go. All right, so just get close to that point of intersection. Okay? So second trace, number 5. All right? So far, so good? All right. Next one will be 2 parabolas. What I got to do first, though, before I can put it in my calculator? What do these have? Y equals, right? What's your button say? Y equals. So we've got to get both of these into y equals. Okay? So the top one, since it's a negative y, how could I make it a positive y? Add it over. You guys with me on that? And what can I do with this -2 to move it over? Add it over, right? So I like to have y on the left, right? Our a is positive 2x squared. our B is -5, and then the X. And then our C would be a +2. Okay? For this one, since the Y is on the left, what am I going to do with these two to move them over? Subtract them, right? So it'd be -x squared and a -2x. Some of us are forgetting that when we're moving stuff. All right? That's basic algebra 1 stuff, right? Remember, if you're going to the opposite side, do the opposite. So if it's addition, do subtraction. If it's multiplication, do division stuff. When you're moving a whole term, though, it's just adding or subtracting. All right, so there's my two equations. I'll move my calculator over so we can look at the red ones. Okay, so go ahead and put those in. 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. And remember, use your negative sign for the -x squared. And then use a minus sign for the 2x. All right, so we put those in, and then we hit graph. And let's see what we get. Do they even hit? They might hit. They don't? Mine don't look, but you guys can tell better? They do not hit? Okay. So this would be what? What would we say? No solution, right? You can just put that in as a 0 with a line through it if you want. Okay, so sometimes that'll happen. That's okay. All right. All right, you guys do one more here, please. Well, that's another line, huh? That's not two parabolas. All right. Let's go back to this one before you do that. And let me just do second trace, intersect. And first curve, I'll get down where it kind of looks like it, enter. Second curve, I'm close, hit enter, and see what guess says. Okay, error, all right? So that means they didn't meet, right? They had no point of intersection. All right, so just so you see what happens there when you're using your intersect part. All right, so here, what are you going to do with the x? For the linear one? Subtract it, right? So that's y equals -x plus 4, so that's one of your equations. Here, I think we'll just add the y and add the 1. So it's y equals x squared plus x plus 1. You guys okay with that?
Where is it?
So what do we get for this one? What are the two answers? Everybody have it?
Not yet. 2, 3, and -3.
This is 2, 3 here.
-3, 7.
And -3, 7. Did that show up in the table?
Yes.
Second graph for table? Yeah. It's 1, 3, not 2, 3, huh? Mine says 1, 3. Did I do it wrong again? You got one, Brooke? Okay. If I go up, -3.7 works, all right? So here I can get both of them. Right here and right here. Okay? So is this that difficult using a calculator? Pretty easy day, right? No? Not? Collins, you having trouble? All right. So there you go. 6 problems.
That's way too much.
Good job today. Thanks for paying attention.